Good evening, everybody. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Somebody move it.
We all say exciting. I know.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Goshen Town Board meeting, September 12th, 2024. Have a motion for the Town Board meeting?
So moved.
Can't hear you. I have second, Phil.
I made a motion, right.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a slight change. We're going to move the item number 1 first so that the attorney does not have to stay here through the public hearing. He's the tax certiorari attorney. So item number 1, discuss proposed resolution settling the tax certiorari claim for Chester LeBaron, section 109, block 524. Rob?
Great, should I,
Yeah, get the
Microphone.
microphone?
Yeah, just put people in the back.
There you go.
Give it to me, Robert.
Here we go.
They have a college degree to do that, you know.
Things can only get easier from here. Alright. Good? Good? No, I don't think it's,
Test. 1, 2, good. It's on.
That was what.
this is why they call me friend. Good evening, Robert Meta, Special Counsel for the Town of Goshen. Here to request that the town approve a proposed resolution settling 5 tax years worth of certiorari proceedings relating to the real property 40 Park Place, Delancey's, mixed-use property including the restaurant, along with the inn and boarding housing above. In this case can probably be summed up as we have said before. Sometimes it's better to be smart than right. And here we have a situation where the petitioners are requesting roughly $15,000 to $16,000 worth of refunds. They have brought an appraisal showing reductions. I don't necessarily agree with all the appraisals. We had all the elements of the appraisals. We had done an inspection of the property, which belied some of the elements upon which that appraiser relied. And then we got to a point where the nature of the court proceeding is either the town orders its own appraisal or we try to settle the case. In fairness to the taxpayers, pricing out the appraisals for 5 years worth of tax years at a commercial property came out to roughly $5,500. And at that point, it made very little sense to pursue litigation. So I was able to negotiate based upon what I perceived to be certain inconsistencies in the appraisal. We negotiated, ultimately reached a proposed settlement subject to approval, which would have refunds of roughly $5,100, resolving all tax years. And in view of that, I'm asking for the town to resolve this. That my understanding is that the petitioners will be doing more work. So in the extent that there is capital improvements, we can then adjust the assessment if necessary. Thank you.
Any questions, Town Board?
Nope.
Rob, that $5,100 was for all 5 years or per year?
So no, that was the tax year. Oh, forgive me, because there was a most recent tax year that was filed in July 2024. Those are the proposed refunds from the town. So once we include the town's refunds, that would be, let me get that number to you. With this most recent year was $6,125 without interest, of course.
Okay, thank you very much.
So if we approve this, he can't file another certiorari for another 2 years, is that correct?
It's another 3 years,
3 years, yeah.
unless the town chooses to adjust its assessment which there would be some reasons to do it, exemptions under the moratorium, but I don't think that's advisable at this time.
Sure.
Thanks, Rob.
From a business perspective, this is the thing to do.
That's what
To
I'm,
save the taxpayers money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, with that being said, can I have a motion to adopt the resolution settling the tax certiorari claim?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. You need a roll
We
call
need a roll
again?
call on that.
Yes, please. Councilman Cantorino?
Aye.
Councilman Lyon?
Aye.
Councilman Florio?
Aye.
Councilman Bluefield?
Aye.
Supervisor Petra?
Aye. Thank you, Rob.
thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Item number 1, public hearing. Introductory one, number 10 of 2024, amending the Chapter 80B Solid Waste Management of the Code of the Town of Goshen to update provisions related to existing facilities. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Prior to having public come up, I just want to make a brief statement that there was a change made to the amended law based on letters that we received from the public. We took a look at them, we reviewed them, and we believe the change to the proposed law is appropriate. Town is not intending to increase any permitted acreage of solid waste management facilities within the local law. It was in there to be compliant with what exists, but based on the public comment, we suggested removing that provision, and therefore we're going to keep the 300 at 300. Only change being made to the law is item number 2 in section number 1, where it begins the proposed facility. We're changing that with the exception of existing facilities. The proposed facility shall adjoin the right-of-way of any existing state highway or county road. And subsection 80B9B shall be amended to include the following language at the end of the sentence, that the size restriction does not apply to existing facilities. Those are the only 2 changes to the law. With that being said, I open up to the public for any comment.
If you'd like to speak, just come to the podium and state your name for the record.
Yep. Oh, sorry.
All right.
O'Neill,
go ahead.
I just wanted to get it over with.
Go ahead.
Marie, just state your name.
My name is Marie Hartman. Be kind, I'm not good at public speaking, but it's important enough that I got up. So, I would like my comments entered into the record, and then I would like to address the proposed amendment, town code, seeks to increase the required, not the required, against the law. If approved, this expand.
Can I just ask you to pull the mic down so they can hear you? Just kidding. Thank you.
Okay, so what I just really want to get up and say that I feel landfill sites have significantly harmed residential property, resale value with their negative impacts extending up to 6.5 miles from the site. The impacts of a dump site include noise, hours of operation, increased diesel truck traffic, unpleasant odors, it's almost over, I'm so happy. Scattered debris, pollution affecting air, water, and soil. Health concerns also arise from exposure to toxic substances, including forever chemicals. Goshen already has 2 large landfills. Do we really need to add more to this beautiful town? Please vote no to amending the town code. Thank God. Thank you.
Chris Healy, Town of Goshen. Supervisor Betro, what you just announced is a complete change to the law.
Where's the complete change?
Well, you just took it from 430 down to 300 acres.
That's what it is.
Okay, so we started talking about this about a month ago,
Okay.
and we're ready tonight to speak on the changes as well, and I'm welcoming the 300 acres.
Chris, I did it off of your letter to me.
I appreciate that.
If you wanted to come here
But
and talk about this, you shouldn't have wrote the letter. I agree with you.
Supervisor Betro, what I'm saying
Yes.
is that this change, this is a sea change to this law, and I would ask...
I beg to differ. It's not a change. It was 300. The change would have been if we went to 416. That's what I think everybody was here to talk about. You very nicely wrote a letter to us. It was very clear, what you said, along with a couple other people, and we agreed with you.
I guess what I'm asking the board is, instead, it's such a change that I would like some time to review what it is trying to figure out what it is exactly you're trying to accomplish. For example, having the roadways, Hartley Road, etc., IWS, they are grandfathered in. There's really no reason to change that law. And if there is, I don't see it. But if you give me a little time, I'll figure it out. But you just made a huge change to this law. This should not be...
Again, you're speaking on a change that I did not make. I did not make a change. It's the existing law that was there. We listened to the public, I listened to your letter.
I
thought it was
appreciate that.
Well written and defined, and I look at it and I said, you know what, he's right. It just gives the impression that we're looking to bring more waste facilities into this town. I agree with him. So let's go back to what it was, 300 acres, that's what it is. We didn't touch it.
So
all this is doing is saying that existing facilities that exist today in the town are not reflective of this new law. The law stating that you have to be on a county or a state road. Obviously, IWS isn't, so we have to include in there with the exception of an existing facility. Not raising any additional ones, not looking to put another one in, just that. It seems simplistic, but that's what it is.
May I point out?
Absolutely.
That sub 2 actually says, has to be on the road. That's what you're doing.
Right.
Take a look at sub 1. Sub 1 says that it must be in the industrial district, the industrial zone. Okay. So what we're really talking about is you can't put it on Cannon Hill, or there are 2 other roads over there. That's basically what's being said.
Well, yeah, what's basically being said is that when they changed the law back in 2014, they included in there that you have to be on a state or county road. They didn't take into consideration that we had a transfer station on a town road. So it never became effective until they went in front of the planning board to redo their building. At that point, our planning board attorney said, they're in conflict, they're gonna have to come to the town board and get a zoning board and get a variance, or we have to change the law to say it doesn't include it. And that's what we did. We changed the law to say it's not included.
With the exception of sub 2, is there another change that
Just
we're holding on to?
2 and 80B, that's it. You'll see the law, and we won't close the public hearing tonight, so you'll have plenty of time to absorb it till the next meeting.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Suzanne Karicki, and I'm from New Hampton, New York. And if approved, this expansion could pave the way for development of another dump site along the 17M corridor. Residents of the town of Goshen have already been subjected to the harmful effects of 2 Superfund sites, the Alatorre landfill and the Orange County landfill. Studies indicate that adverse health impacts most likely occur within a 1.8-mile radius of the boundary of the Superfund site. Landfill sites release toxic gases generated by decomposing waste, which can harm respiratory systems and can lead to lung cancer. A landfill can produce harmful gases for up to 50 years. Gases spread beyond the landfill's boundaries. It is essential to put safeguards into place which prevent residents from being subjected to further harm. Our community deserves protection, not to be burdened by additional risks. Please vote no to amending Code 80B. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
I guess I'm a little confused. You said you were putting the thing back in. The microphone isn't on. Hello? It's not on. It needs to be turned on.
Testing. So that was the one that wasn't working. He's got the good one. Did they switch them?
I think you changed the batteries on it though.
Oh, okay.
It's working.
Who's got to speak
Sorry.
Crank the volume on?
Just speak into it.
Okay, so,
Speak into the
okay,
mic.
so you said that you're putting the 80B back in. I guess I'm a little confused because then in the number 2 thing here, it says, with the exception of existing facilities. So does that mean that the size restriction does not apply to these existing facilities? So 300 acres could become 430 acres. That's, I guess I'm a little confused.
No, what it is when they changed the code back in whatever, 2014, they made it so that any new facilities, back then they may have been thinking that there were new facilities coming in here, have to be on a county or a state road. They didn't take into consideration the existing business that was in the town on Hartley Road. So all this does is say without exception to an existing facility. That means it doesn't affect IWS on Hartley Road. That's all this means.
Okay. All right, well, I'm just.
It doesn't affect any size, it doesn't affect anything.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read what I wrote
Yeah,
today
sure.
before all this happened. I would like to address the proposed amendment to Town Code 80B. We already have 2 toxic landfills this side of Goshen. From what I understand, they are already leaking into the wall film. And who knows what else is coming out or leaking or coming into the air. I remember when the Alturley landfill came in, we were told it was safe. It's not safe. Alturley is a mess. There's no control over it, the seepage, etc., and you want to open up the area to more with the easing of ADB. It's just too populated here. I say no. Please don't play games with our drinking water and the land and houses. Some of us who have spent 40 years investing and fixing up. Let's concentrate on cleaning up areas that we've got, Alturley and Orange County, and not open up another toxic mistake. We have 2 toxic mistakes already. We need to concentrate on making mistakes. So please vote no. Okay, thank you.
Next.
Good evening, Supervisor Betcho, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to address you.
We can't hear you, Bruce.
Yep, Brad. My name is Brad Barnhorst, 100 Maple Avenue, Goshen. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board. My first point is a request. Well, first, thank you for listening to your constituents and changing the acreage size from 430 to back 300. I think there's some confusion because many of the folks here were prepared to speak to that particular change. And finding out once we're here that it's changed, you've got people, you're a little bit thrown off if you're planning to talk a lot about it.
Completely understand.
So it would be nice to learn about that earlier or to postpone the hearing to another time or hold it open later. Secondly, I would respectfully request that for any proposed law changes, and Mr. Brady may have some opinion on this to shoot me down, but it would be nice to get reasoning behind why the law is being changed. You explained it's to grandfather in the existing site. Something like that, along with the law, would help all of us to understand why is this being changed. And then lastly, it would be also respectfully request that when there are proposed changes, that if there has been a qualitative and quantitative analysis of the impacts of these changes, that be shared with the constituents ahead of time before the public hearings. Not understanding exactly at this point what the reasoning is behind this change, I will hold off on comments, but absent that, I would ask you to vote no, pending further information. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Very good, Brad. Thank you.
Good evening, Alana Smith. I echo the comments of the last speaker. It's really unclear why we need to have this law in the first place. And if this is about an application in front of the planning board, that makes me even more confused because when I go online to see the minutes of the planning board, I haven't seen any minutes since March. So how are people supposed to know what's going on? We have a local law for, I guess, apparently for an application that's pending, but we don't know anything about it because the planning board doesn't post any minutes.
You're aware that the meetings are all televised now, correct?
Yeah, but
Okay. If they're not on there, I'll find out that they should be on there. Hours are on there,
I know the town boards
So
are.
I'll find out.
There are no planning board minutes since March.
Mr.
I will-
Supervisor,
I will
if I can
find
just
out.
comment on that.
Yeah, Sean's the engineer, he sits on those meetings.
Good evening. The last time this was considered by the planning board was their special meeting of February 29th. So as long as those minutes are on and anything behind that, older than that, then all the minutes related to this application should be posted on the internet.
And go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just more confused now, so I'm hoping somebody will help. Thank you.
I apologize for your confusion. I don't want to say it's simplistic, but it's simplistic. All we're doing basically is righting a wrong from when it went in 2014 because we had an existing business that was not on a town or a county road. I'll turn it over to Sean.
Wouldn't that be a zoning board thing?
No, it's not a zone. It's changing the law. But I'll turn it over. Sean's the engineer on the planning board. He's involved with this on a bi-weekly basis, so.
If I couldn't, I don't want to interrupt the public hearing, but I may be able to provide some information on this.
We did one, Mike. Thank you.
We can't
I'm getting it. Where were you on that? Come on, man.
That's your job, Rory, come on. One working microphone and let him use it, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Rory.
You're welcome, Sean.
So I believe some of the confusion is actually because of my review, and I'm going to get into that just in a second. So just by way of some background, you'll recall that this board, not this board that's here this evening, but the town board issued a permit for Northern Recycling in 2003 for the site. And then in 2006, that permit was transferred to IWS. IWS's permit lapsed in 2011 because in your code, the permit's only valid for 5 years. IWS never returned to this board to renew those permits. So right now, they do not have an operating permit. IWS, because of requirements of the DEC, made application to the planning board for improvements at their site, including an expansion of the transfer facility. It was explained to the planning board that that expansion was necessary to make sure that all transfer occurs indoors. I understand perhaps they were doing some exterior transfer, which is no longer permitted. So the applicant actually obtained site plan special permit approval from the planning board, conditional site plan special permit approval back in February, as indicated. And then one of the planning board's conditions was that they approach you to determine whether they need any solid waste management permit updates. They applied to you in June, and at your June 27th meeting, you determined that application was incomplete. In part, I believe, off of my report that I filed with the board the week before. Now, when I was reviewing their application for completeness, there were two items that popped up. First was that the way the code is structured, the applicant really wouldn't have any standing because they do not have frontage on a state or county road. Second, your code requires these facilities to be on sites greater than 10 acres and less than 50 acres. IWS's site is 3 acres. So those are the two items that IWS doesn't comply with. Now, after that meeting in June, in July, we discussed this with the applicant, and they asked whether the building inspector's October 2022 determination of a pre-existing non-conforming condition could be applied to the solid waste management permit. It can't. That is reserved, and that status is reserved for zoning matters. Additionally, they would not be able to seek a variance because the ZBA only deals with zoning code matters. So this is a matter in your solid waste management code. So the applicant needs a change in the local law to allow these, and the changes really are as simple as you indicated earlier, Mr. Supervisor. They're just allowing, they're recognizing the right of existing facilities to exist. And it's really only relative to the facility size, that 3 acres when 10 acres is required, and the location on Hartley Road, a town road rather than a state or county road.
Thank you, Sean. Did that help explain it a little?
That's helpful, but what is not clear to me is I guess, another local law that's been proposed regarding expanding solid waste facilities in the town of Goshen. Am I incorrect, that there's no other local laws?
The original version of this proposed local law 10 of 2024, had the two items I mentioned, the state and county road and the lot size, and they also indicated an increase from 300 acres as written in the code to 423 acres. That, as the supervisor indicated, has been struck from the proposed local law. So right now, the only local law that would be before the board would be to increase the frontage in the lot area relative to IWS.
I guess then my question is, are there other proposed local laws for the town of Goshen that deal with solid waste management?
No, nothing before us.
Maybe not tonight, but are there any other proposed laws?
Not currently before us, no.
Okay. Thank you. I am somebody who grew up here and had to deal with the horror of landfills. The people who live near those areas still deal with that horror. So the idea of expanding any kind of solid waste in this town would really be unforgivable. Would really be unforgivable and actionable in some cases. There are people who have sued and gotten settlements. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Jean D'Onofrio, 7 Hour Court. We're just talking about the local laws. This one is local law 10. But what happened to local law 1?
What's local law 1? I don't have it in front of me, so what is it?
That was the solid waste law.
Are we talking maybe the introductory versus
Yeah.
the?
That's the introductory law.
So,
Right.
That becomes local law 10. So it
Yeah.
starts as an introductory law, and then when we're ready to firm it up, it actually becomes a law.
the introductory local law number and the potential local law number don't always match up because some fall by the wayside. So when it's first proposed to the board, it's an introductory.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, what do you see on introductory law?
There's changes in here, and they're not on local law 10.
Again, I'm sorry, can I see it?
Well, again, that's,
I just want to see it, make sure we're correct, that's all. So this is a different one, this is chapter 97.
No, that's not.
We never continued with that one. It was introduced and we never acted on it, so it dies.
so again, if the introductory local law is the initial presentation, there's, I don't know what percentage to give you, but there are a few over the course of the year that fall by the wayside or sit into even to the next year, which changes the number. So it could be introductory local law 5 of 24 gets adopted in 25 and it becomes local law number something of 25. So you could be looking at a draft of something that was presented at one point and then it was either rejected or back to the drawing board type of thing.
It was
So-
back to the drawing.
Yeah, so to simplify it and try to, again, parse out what's going on, what's before the board right now, as written, is the proposed, with, I'm signing changes, it's, the changes were the undo changes that were initially presented to, I guess, I thought I was gonna make it simple, I think I'm making it more
So we don't
complicated.
have to worry about
I'm gonna turn this off.
We don't have to worry about local law 1.
Correct.
No, thanks, that's what I was getting
All
at.
right.
Simple.
Make them look small. Yeah, give that back to you. You are.
Well, I'm really
you can-
glad, Susan Cleaver, P.O. Box 411, Goshen, New York. I'm really glad to hear that you scaled back the acreage. I have a copy, actually I have a bunch of material for you guys.
Can you just pull the mic down, because I don't think they can hear you in the back, and I apologize.
Oops, sorry guys. I've got a bunch of material for you to look at. One is a newspaper article from the Times Herald Record that the county landfill cost the taxpayers, I think it was 1.4 million just on leachate. That came out of all of these people that are sitting here paid for that. And we have paid, and we have paid, and people have gotten sick, and people have died, and there has been, the Wallkill River is like basically dead. If you go down there, there's hardly any fish, there's hardly any biodiversity. It's been leaking leachate from the 2 landfills forever. And every environmental organization, Riverkeepers, Orange Environment, I forgot, Citizens Who Care, you can go through a whole list of people, the amount of money that has gotten spent on those 2 landfills, and the results of everything is disgusting. And it's not against any solid waste that's here. but I can't for the life of me understand why we're entertaining this. John Capello is a very good attorney. I sat on the planning board. They were grandfathered in for IWS because they were in existence before the law was. So they were in existence before ADB, so if it says, and I'm sorry, I'm not an attorney, Sean, but I don't understand if they were grandfathered in, why now it's gotta comply. But more disturbing to me is the fact that these guys have not had a permit since 2011. 2011. They also promised this board, there's newspaper articles up and down where they promised to pay host fees, tipping fees, and all of this. And have they ever even paid 5 cents?
Yeah, it's
No.
a code enforcement issue, should have been taken care of. It was.
Yes,
So we're trying to rectify that.
And this is going on for how many years? Now, if they don't
Since
have
2014.
if they don't have a permit, they probably shouldn't be operating.
Right.
Correct.
It's $10,000 a minimum a day per violation. They also expanded their solid waste. At least that's what I've heard from the meetings I've gone to. They were originally permitted from the town, I believe, for 300 and some tons a day. I have the paperwork.
370, I think it is.
395.
And I believe they're over that.
They are.
Plus
Okay.
70,
So I'm gonna give you some paperwork now because this facility is in an environmental justice area. It's also in a disadvantaged community because of all the pollution that's coming out of the landfills, the transfer stations, and everything else in that area. They have laws that have gotten passed that says that for any permitting, so you guys are gonna send a permit, probably from the town if it gets passed, to the DEC. I'm gonna send this to the DEC and say, they don't have a permit, they're increasing their rates, and according to this law, they're not allowed to. But I'll let you guys review it and you can see what you think. But this has gotta end somewhere. There's inspector fees for the town at 5 cents. They've never been paid.
Again, code enforcement issue, it wasn't taken care of, but, you know, we're trying to rectify that problem. My only issue, there's a little bit of confusion, because we're really not talking about.
I understand, you're not
And
talking about.
you know I share, and I've shared with Neil, the issues that we have at Altori, and we're trying to get them resolved. I sympathize with what you're saying, you know, we all live
I have
here.
not talked to this board about Altori, and I don't believe I've talked to them in years about the Orange County landfill.
We were just talking about it, you're talking about the leachate going in from both landfills.
Well,
So, as you're aware, I mean, no, I'm just for clarification purposes, that's all. So I share everybody's here position on this, but we're talking about an existing business that doesn't put garbage in the ground. The garbage is transient. It comes in, it goes out, it comes in, it goes out.
But didn't they get fined $6,000 for running leachate over their neighbor's property? Well, I'm not even gonna mention.
I'm sorry, what was that?
They got fined $6,000 from the EPA for running leachate impacted, chemical impacted waters over through their neighbor's property out to the Wallkill River.
IWS?
Yes.
Okay, I'm unaware of that.
I gave a copy of the paperwork to Kelly and to this board when they were at the planning board. I don't know if any of them remember, I did. And IWS presented to the planning board that they've never had any problems. So, but you can look at it online.
Are we talking about, I don't, are we
No,
talking
it's
about to the planning board in the past, or the one that
No, it
was
was
now?
when I brought to your attention about the tipping fees not being paid.
Right, and I think we
I don't think you were-
resolved that.
I
right?
don't think you were at the meeting, to be honest, I don't think it was a joint meeting between this board and the planning board.
So, but we did resolve that, you're aware of that, right? We are getting $1 a ton moving
I-
forward,
I-
and $200,000 in
I
arrears.
hear that, I hear that, but I've also heard stuff like that in the past, and it's never come to fruition.
Well, they don't get their permit without signing it.
Uh-huh. I'm sorry, but they got the last permit and the permit before
But you were on that board, I wasn't.
Mhm. Well, you can say that until you're blue in the face, but this,
But I'm not blaming you, but you're blaming me. I'm telling
I'm
you.
not,
we're
I'm
gonna
not
get it.
blaming you, I'm just asking you, how come we're changing a law for somebody who has not been a good neighbor? That's the point I'm trying to make. If these guys are extensively, but they're operating without a permit, they didn't renew their permit, they haven't paid the fees to the town? They were supposed to pay fees, at least it was my understanding. I won't go into that, but either way, if you
I
could,
got you, I understand where you're coming from. I
If
mean,
you-
it's a twofold issue, so as we're aware, it's kind of a little bit of a gray, because they do have a permit to operate, they have a 360 permit granted by the Department of Environmental
it's not
Conservation.
the town of Goshen. Town of Goshen.
I understand that, and that is a gray area. Who supersedes who? Who overrides who?
It's not the gray area,
It's
it's
not-
a town.
It is
The town
the town.
zoning supersedes.
But I'm not gonna sit
anything
here
that
and
the
take up
DEC
time
says.
and argue.
No, I don't want to argue, I don't want to argue,
Yeah.
But I wish you guys would read this stuff.
You sent me that, right? You sent me
No,
that.
this is different. This is, can I, seeing how you're gonna leave it open, can I email it to you, because I don't have, you can keep those if you want, but I'll email them.
Susan, I have a question for you.
Thank you.
The leachate that got to Walk Hill River, do you think that's because they were transferring the garbage and the trash outside the building?
No, all I can do is guess that maybe they didn't empty, they have that collection system that was put in, which actually is a very good system. Maybe it didn't get emptied or whatever. I mean, EPA has not did fines for like that and cite people for doing that.
Thank you.
But it's actually online, and you could probably call, they're supposed to also notify, give copies of all paperwork to the town, including if there's any violations or anything else. I don't know that that's happening.
Gotcha.
Mr. Supervisor, before the next speaker, can I just mention something? Again, you've heard the issue of grandfathering, and IWS asked the town.
It's a stand.
Leave that over there, and Rick and Doug can share it.
Okay, so, Mr. Supervisor, I just wanted to mention, you heard the description of grandfathering, and the applicant IWS had asked repeatedly whether they could be considered grandfathered so they wouldn't have to go through this very process. And I am not an attorney, as you know. The planning board attorney reviewed your code with IWS. I presume IWS attorneys looked at it as well. And both ultimately came to the conclusion that they could not proceed, that this is a threshold issue for them proceeding to get renewed permits from you, or at least to get on your agenda to consider renewed permits. So there is no ability.
No grandfather, no pre-existing non-conforming.
That's what the attorneys determined.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, I'm Rachel Losi, thank you, board, and
I'm sorry,
local
Rachel,
neighbors.
your last name, I'm sorry.
Rachel Losi, L-O-S-E-E. Because of what the last president said about the bad actors and this law being changed to bend for them, your first line in section 1, purpose and intent. The town board of the town of Goshen has a legitimate governmental interest in regulating the location and size of solid waste management facilities located within its corporate limits in order to protect the health, safety, welfare of the people who live and work in the town of Goshen. Therefore, there should be no reason to amend or change a law for one business that's been a bad actor.
Sean, would you go over that grandfather again, because in this local law here, it states grandfathered, so are they misstating this, or what are we talking about?
No, what I'm saying is in your current law.
Turn it on.
Understand
What I'm saying is in your
law.
current law, there's no ability for it to be grandfathered.
So are we saying by adopting this new local law that we're recognizing them as being grandfathered?
Apparently not.
Yes, I don't want to use the word grandfather. What the local law says is with the exception of existing facilities, so this would be considered an existing facility. And then on the second matter, it says the size restriction does not apply to existing facilities. So it recognizes the right as an existing facility to proceed under your solid waste management permitting law.
So without this law, they go out of business, correct?
No,
No.
not necessarily. Without this law, they cannot put in an application to renew their expired 2011 or 2006 permit.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, which then means you're out of business.
Again, not exactly, this board would have to
Okay,
take
well,
action
yeah.
for them to, enforcement action.
So if we put the application in for the original amount that they had a permit for in 2011, would we have to do exceptions or anything like that? Or, I mean, just
Yes,
continuing
you would have
what
to-
what they didn't adhere to, but continuing what they were allowed to do? If they just said, okay, we're gonna peel back and say, let's do what we were legally allowed to do by the town of Goshen, and we just like to renew that permit, can they make an application to do that?
Under your solid management facilities regulations, there's two permits that they require right now.
Right.
One is a construction modification permit, and that's the physical modification of their facilities.
Right,
And the other is the operational permit. They did not have a construction permit because the facility was built, so that's a new permit that they need. The operational permit is the one that expired in 2011,
right.
and they need to renew that permit in order to operate.
So could they renew that payment, that permit, without anything else? In other words, could they just come before the board and say, listen, we just,
No, not the way your law is structured, because that
No.
has expired. It doesn't recognize existing facilities. It says existing facilities have to be on a state or county road and
Right.
greater than 10 acres, and they don't meet those two criteria.
Well,
So
they don't-
therefore, you couldn't even process the application.
I think there's an additional criteria that they don't meet, because the total acreage of landfills currently, without them, is 329 acres. So we're already over, without them, that 300 acre mark.
I think they're included in that 300 acre mark.
No, they're not. There's another 16 acres, I think, that we have. And, that's just Orange County. Altoona is 121, and Orange County is 208. So that's 329. So they don't even meet that criteria at all. So that's another one that we were talking about. Am I right in understanding that?
That's not my understanding, no.
What's not your understanding of
That they
legally,
that
maybe
they
already-
require the modification that this board indicated they'd be removing. So the local law, the introductory local law number 10 included an increase to, I believe, 430 acres.
No, we're back to 300.
Back to 300, that's correct.
That's
So-
correct.
So that is not needed for the IWS application.
Yeah, so even if we didn't pass this, if they came for a renewal of the permit, there'd be a problem.
That,
Meaning,
no, I do not believe that there would be that. There's no requirement in your permit that they have to justify that number, the 300 acres.
What?
So if I'm following Phil, and I think what he's saying is the combination of both Altoona and Orange County already exceeds 300
exceed
acres.
300, which is all that's allowed.
So why would they have even changed the law back in 2000, or adjusted the law back in 2014? Because they wouldn't have complied back then.
I
Right.
can't answer that, I wasn't
Okay.
part of that.
But
My understanding.
That's what's written.
Again, I did not prepare the local.
No, no, I know.
My understanding is
Nothing
that
to do with you.
IWS has reviewed your code, and they are requesting the lot area, the individual lot, and the state road. They are not requesting a change, as far as I understand, for the aggregate total size in the town.
But it's not them. The aggregate total size is the law. It's already been exceeded by the Orange County and Altoona. If they want to come in, they're just adding to that, saying, well, we have another 3 acres or 10 acres or whatever. And it's like, wait a minute, we can't have any solid waste facilities because we already have 328 acres.
My understanding,
So,
again, is that they have just asked for these two modifications, and they were okay
Right.
with the removal of that other, and they've reviewed this several times.
Well, they've reviewed it, but what I'm saying to you is, we have our planning board attorney that needs to take a look at that, if that's,
I
and
believe
they'll need an exception for that, is all I'm saying.
Could
If it's approved.
it be, sorry, could
Yeah,
it
no,
be
no.
that the Orange County landfill's entire acreage of 228 isn't all considered solid waste facilities? Because,
I don't have an answer for you on that.
Yeah.
but that could
All I
be,
can tell you is what I know,
Yeah.
and what I know is that IWS was not looking for that change that you've removed this evening. They were only concerned with the other two changes. If you, I understand your concern.
I'm sure they wouldn't.
I understand your concern. I would suggest that we reach out to the planning board attorney, that, because I believe she's had discussions with the applicant on that,
particular topic. That's all I can tell you, I'm sorry.
We want to get everything out in the open, so if we move on something, we want to make sure it's right.
Well, we're adjourning the public hearing tonight, so,
Yeah,
we'll get the
right.
information from Kelly and.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yes.
My name is Erica Carl, I'm from New Hampton. I consider Goshen my town. So all this with IWS and the permits and this, it's grandfathered in, they're running without a permit. I'm here to find out about Huges. Okay, first it was going on as a research and development on the county land. So next, they needed that, let me speak.
No, I missed what you said, I apologize. You're here to talk about what?
Hughes. I'm sure all of us here are here about that. This is nice and confusing, but they already are grandfathered in. I would like to know, as a neighbor, if, well, I understand that Hughes needed that law number 1 change to get them in because the DEC wouldn't give them a permit. So now it's 80B. I would like all of you people to tell the public what is going on with Hughes, because that's what we're here for. That would be another facility. Are they going to come in with a different name? I just would like it, and I'm pretty sure everybody else would like to hear about it.
Okay, I'll give you what's going on. Dear Mr. Burgess, I am writing to inform you that after careful consideration, Hughes Energy has made the difficult decision to put their planned investment in the town of Goshen on hold. The decision stems from New York State's Department of Environmental Conservation stance on Hughes technology, which is that R&D is not necessary as the technology is already proven. While we welcome the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation's recognition that the technology is proven, their stance is limited Hughes' ability to conduct advanced research and development we believe is necessary. Hughes technology has been successful in other markets, however, Hughes Energy feels conducting an R&D with local waste is important to optimize performance in the special needs. Hughes remains committed to the potential of a project and hopes this to move forward once Hughes Energy can work out a way to conduct important R&D research. So as effective today, that application has been pulled from the planning
It's
board.
on hold is what you just said.
It's being pulled
So
from the planning
that's
board.
what, it's pulled from the planning board.
Yep, pulled from the planning board, from their agenda.
Everybody hear that? Yep.
Deb?
Hi guys, how are you? I mean, I guess we don't have any term limits in this town, no? On board? And the flag's over there. Okay, so it's a little scary. You guys are making decisions and there's no flags over there. Can you hear me back there?
Yes.
So I just want, since Legoland, we've been asking everyone to talk in the microphone like this, okay? I have a couple questions. Okay, so if somebody's not paying you their tipping fees, and why are we even entertaining them? Why don't we use the when and the then that I use with my children? It's when you do this, then we can do that. So we're talking about property tax cap being taken off tonight. We're all being taxed to death. People are moving out of this area because they can't afford to live here anymore because of taxes. But yet, we are allowing this person or this organization to continue on, and we're kowtowing to them and enabling them to have us look at a proposed change. We're all here tonight for this, but I feel like if you are not paying your bills, you shouldn't have the opportunity to even be thought of doing anything for them until they pay. And if we got everybody to pay, then maybe our tax cap would not be risen on our property. Is there any other garbage company besides IWS along the same avenue there?
No.
Okay. Do you have something to do with monopolies in this town? Should we look at that?
As far as what?
No, I mean, are they the only garbage company?
They're the only transfer station.
Oh, transfer station, okay. And this is a private company that owns our transfer station?
It's their transfer station.
It's their transfer station. Oh, I didn't realize. I thought it was
It's
Orange.
privately, it's a private transfer station.
I thought it was Orange County.
No, Orange County has a transfer, their own transfer station.
Oh, they do have
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
Okay, so that answers that question. Okay, well, thank you. I saw the tax cap law and I was thinking, well, maybe if everybody paid their fees, we wouldn't be raising and, you know.
And
I
I
think-
concur with you, and I agree. That's why we negotiated $1 per ton versus the 5 cents they were supposed to pay. And if you extrapolate the 5 cents they were getting over the 14 years, it works out to be about $35,000. They're paying us $200,000 for all of that in arrears, and $100 per ton going forward. So that's going to be a net $90,000 hitting the bottom line for the taxpayers every single year.
I also want to ask, has Legoland paid their fees that they had promised us?
Every year.
They have paid,
Yep.
okay. That's what I
Every year.
wanted to find
It's
out.
It's in the budget. You'll see it as a line item. in the-
Okay, thank you.
It isn't at the cap yet, it isn't at the 1.2 million because it's based on attendance, but they're at roughly 600,000 this year is what we're
Okay, good.
forecasting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Neil? Neil, you like to be last?
Yeah, I do, that I could say less. But no, I'm actually here tonight on behalf of the ERB. We had a meeting last night and we went over this law and we had a number of things to talk about, the number of roads that are allowed and all that. However, the bottom line for them last night was that if the acreage is being lowered back down to 300, they really have no real concerns. So I just had to pass that along.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I need a motion to authorize Attorney Norton to revise the introductory law number 10 of 2024 as discussed tonight. Yeah, that's next. A motion for her to revise the local law. So that you'll get a copy of the local law.
So moved.
So the local law, introductory law has the changes that you're concerned about. 413 acres, that's the way it sits today that she wrote it. So all I'm saying is a motion to revise it back to 300, make those two changes, and then distribute it out to the public before the next public hearing.
So there's a local law and a second for discussion, so I'd like to have a little discussion on something.
Sure, yeah.
On this local
Sure,
law.
absolutely. Sorry, Phil.
I'm not sure if the other board members want to chime in. But we do have something in section 80B where it says shall be amended to include the following language at the end of the second sentence. The size restriction does not apply to existing facilities. What size restriction? In other words,
The 10 to 50 acres.
so that should be spelled out, because if they come in and say we need another 45 acres, then it meets the standard.
I'm assuming, Sean,
law.
that is
That's why I
correct?
want you to listen up, and maybe a town attorney too. And it meets.
Phil, I certainly would chime in, but this has been, for various reasons, has been singularly carried by the planning board attorney, so it would be kind of irresponsible for me to chime in. So I just want to clarify that. It's not
But Sean, when you
Okay,
said.
why Sean's been handling.
I just need to get this on, and let me continue.
All right, sorry.
I'm just gonna ask Sean if that's what we're talking about before.
Here, it's talking about no size restrictions on a facility. That one scares the hell out of me.
What do you mean, no size restriction?
That's
It
what
says
it
the
says.
size restriction does not apply to the existing facility. I
And this
believe,
is an existing facility, and that size restriction,
I think I
whatever it may
understand.
be, does not apply to.
I
That's
believe
what I'm
it's
trying to get clarification on.
no, that's what I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
Is that because the current law as it sits requires you to be on 10 to 50 acres?
Yeah, and I believe your concern is the maximum, right? So if you
Right.
add this size restriction does not apply to existing facilities, then conceivably somebody could exceed the 50 acres.
Right.
So that should be
Right.
reworded
Yes.
to indicate the minimum size restriction does not. Is that-
Okay.
is that-
Yeah, because anybody can come in, and then if we do deny it, then we'll get sued for,
I understand.
we understand that? So, because it says totally
Got that
unrestricted.
change?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What else, Phil?
Well, there's not much else.
That was a good point.
Doug, you have anything? No. Okay, so then, again, a motion to authorize Norton to revise introductory law number 10 of 2024 as discussed tonight.
said so
moved already.
Second?
Second already.
Roll call?
Can we?
You know, you don't need a.
All in favor?
Aye. So we'll add that to the motion, is that okay?
Yeah.
The minimum size.
Yeah.
We don't have to rescind the motion?
You're just
As
authorizing her
discussed.
to edit based on the comments
Okay.
between,
I just want to make sure
the board,
there's a
yeah.
motion and a second, and now it's changed, so.
you don't have to detail every change in the motion, just the authorization to make the change. So I think it's satisfactory. She's got the notes from Mary and certainly the video.
Thank you.
Good to go.
So then can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing to September 26, 2024 at 7 PM?
Or as soon
We'll just
thereafter.
leave it open, right?
Yeah, you leave it open, but it still gets, I think it still should get publicized again.
Yeah, you have to
That will
start
continue
again.
this.
I mean, essentially,
We're not
motion
closing
to,
it. Yeah.
motion to
Adjourning
adjourn
it.
is,
We're not closing it.
No.
motion to adjourn.
To be continued on such and such date as soon thereafter concurrent. Because it could snow that.
So moved.
Second? Seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
I can't believe it.
All right. Item 1 is done. Item 2, discuss request from Chester Road Solar One LLC, Vivian Lane Solar, for a 6-month extension of special use permit. Sean, you want to? Give me a second to.
Supervisor, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I can actually handle your agenda items 2 and 3. They're very similar. So Vivian and Broadway solar facilities, they were approved some time ago. You may remember you authorized a special permit.
Didn't hear it all.
So that special permit was due to expire on 9/12/24. The applicant is working to get building permits. They may have gotten building permits, but I spoke to the applicant's attorney today. I'm sorry, it expired 8/22/24. They have gotten building permits, however, the applicant's attorney for both solar projects requested that you extend their special permit to September 30th because he believes there may be a lag between the expiration date and when they actually got the permit, just by a day or so. He doesn't want any confusion whatsoever in the record.
So Chester Road and Broadway just to September instead of March?
This would be Vivian Lane Solar and Broadleaf Solar, an extension from August 22nd to September 30th.
Should we do it in separate motions?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion on here, they gave me till March 9th. You're saying that's
That's
different?
the 6 months.
That's only for the Owens Road Solar, the third solar project.
I have it for both. I
And
have it
actually,
for Chester Road Solar to March 9th, for Broadleaf to March 9th, and then Owens to March 12th.
I understand. The
But what do
applicant,
you
when
want?
he put that in, didn't realize that he was getting a building permit that week.
Okay, so when do you want to move it to?
For Vivian and Broadleaf, it would be from 2 September 30th.
September 30th.
September 35.
this year.
Of this year,
Yeah,
2024.
The end of
Because they have
the-
their building permit. All right, so any questions from the board?
I'm just saying, here it says 6 months.
Yeah, they don't need 6 months.
Not correct.
That was before he realized that they were getting a building permit.
Right.
So can I have a motion to extend special use permit for Chester Road Solar One LLC to September 30th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to extend special use permit for Broadley Road Solar One LLC to September 30th, 2024?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 4, discuss request from Owens Solar Goshen 1 LLC and Goshen Solar 2 LLC for a 6-month extension of their special use permit.
This one is not as close to getting building permit as the other two were, so this would be a 6-month extension if the board's inclined to do so.
You know what the holdup is, Sean?
No, I don't. I know they have to do some permitting and some wetland mitigation work at that site, so that may be what the holdup's for, but I really don't know.
Okay.
They expired now?
No, I don't believe they expired now. I believe that one is valid until September 12th.
So
which is
6
tonight.
months from September 12th?
Yeah.
Which
I
would
make
be
a
the,
motion on that.
March 13th would be the meeting night to extend it, so, which is almost 6 months on the dot. March 13th.
George and Rick, second Rick.
All in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye. We need a roll call vote.
I think you're good, Sean, unless you want to stay there.
You can, he can stay for the next one.
Do you want my assistance with actually, Elaine?
Yes, I do. Okay. Discuss and authorize the supervisor to sign all documents pertaining to accepting the conveyance of a portion of the road along Axworthy Lane for the highway purpose.
So when this applicant, Mr. Freeman, appeared before the planning board for site plan approval for a single-family house, when the planning board reviewed his survey, they realized that his parcel actually extends by deed to the center line of Axworthy Lane. This happens quite often in the county with older roads, as you're aware. So what we typically try to do is normalize the right-of-way, and we ask the applicant to dedicate that small portion of the road right-of-way to you, so there's a clear record of ownership.
Which amounts to 0.25 acres, I believe.
Approximately, yes.
Any questions on that?
Nope.
All right, so a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign all documents pertaining to accepting the conveyance of a portion of the road along Axworthy Lane for highway purposes. So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Sean. Item number 6, discuss and authorize the supervisor to to sign the required application for New York State DEC and Orange County DOH to allow for the submission of the project of these agencies for review of the water system from Maplewood Village project. So, I guess this has to do, Sean, maybe you can stay for this for a minute.
He can.
What?
He can.
Okay.
Like,
Oh, that's right, I apologize. Okay, so this applicant for Maplewood Village has completed the retesting of the wells at Maplewood site. Everyone has the report in there.
Right.
So they, all testing came back, the part 5 came back normal, testing that the planning board allowed them to do. Mr. John Russo is here to talk about it.
Good evening, everybody. So as the board had previously requested, they wanted us to verify the pumping rates of the wells. My client went out and had the wells retested again, 72-hour pump test. As you can see from the report, the wells are still producing very well. You're still 245 and 87. You know, the project requires a total of just a little over 29,000 gallons per day. That equates to 21 gallons per minute. Maximum daily demand is 2 times that, which is 42 gallons per minute. With the best well out, we're still producing 2 times what we would need. I know there was a concern of the board as far as iron and manganese. As you can see in the lab results, iron is non-detectable and manganese is well below the allowable limits. Everything else was clean in there. So at this time, what we would like to do is get the board to authorize the supervisor to sign our applications to be able to move forwards to the outside agencies with DEC and with Department of Health.
Anything from the board?
No.
Well, I do have a concern, in a way. You said, but manganese and iron are both below this and that and all that kind of thing. But if when you come online, we get a lot of brown water like we've had in Hamiltonian Park, I don't know the number of differences and all that. My expectation is that your corporation who's building these houses, building the system, will take care of that with green filtered sand or whatever it is.
I think we talked about that, John, right? And there's no way to forecast the size of the sand.
Right, there's no way to forecast that.
Right, I'm just going on the record as saying, as a town board member living here and going what we've had in the past, if that problem occurs, you would entertain fixable.
We would entertain something with the town.
Okay.
Didn't they talk about possibly putting up a bond for that?
It might be, that's something we need to
Well,
discuss
that-
further with the
sure.
town on that, because.
Right.
I'm just bringing it up.
Right,
We-
you know, and I've had this
Yeah.
conversation with the Department of Health also, and
Right.
without any targets, you can't design
No, I
something.
understand, you can't design.
And right now, you know, iron is not detectable in the tests,
Right.
so.
Okay.
So eventually, after this is all said and done, everything's built and stuff like that, you'll be turning over these two wells to the town of Goshen.
To the town of Goshen,
And there will be a stipulation or something in the past that since you have such an overabundance of water, that the town can use the water for other purposes.
Yes, at that point, there'll be the town wells.
They're gonna be coming into the Hamiltonian Park District.
You can't
We've
use-
already extended, right, we
I
already
just
had
wanted
this.
to make sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Throw that
yeah,
out
yeah,
there
yeah,
that-
no, I don't think they
Well,
can use it. It's in
No,
the-
they're gonna be turning them over to us, they're
Yeah.
gonna become part of that water district.
Right.
Right.
Right, no, I understand that, but I didn't want any kind of clause in there or anything that the water is
Nope.
being maintained only by that subdivision.
No.
It could be used
No.
for purposes.
However, the
where
town
they're using it.
wishes to use the water.
Yeah, they're gonna become, maybe we'll be part of the Hamiltonian Park Water District.
Right.
Well, as
But
part
the
of
whole water district.
The entire water.
The consolidated water district.
Correct. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, so anything else? No? Okay, so then a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the required application for New York DEC and Orange County DOH to allow for the submission.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
Very good.
much.
I give you 3 months to start the house.
Yeah, when are we gonna do this?
3 months, a month and a half.
Yeah, the boss is right over there.
All right, next item on the agenda, discuss and authorize the supervisor to sign the master agreement with Kimberly Horn Engineering, landscape architect of New York PC for the professional services. This was, we signed a 2-deal one for them, the last meeting for 2 deals that they're working on. This is a contract for them to contract directly to the planning board. Prior to this, they were working through Sean, and since Sean has moved over to Lincoln Tully, they asked for their own agreement. We thought it was a better idea for them to come directly to us, so that's essentially what we're signing tonight.
So they'll be working for the planning board?
Directly for the planning board, not a subcontractor under Sean.
Okay.
Yep, I need a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Introductory law number 12 of 2024 entitled Tax Levy Limit Override. So we're putting this in there at the outside chance that we go over the tax levy when we're doing our budget. We don't know what the number is or if we will go over it, but we have to have this put into play at a public hearing in order to meet the deadline for the budget for New York State. So as of right now, we're just putting in a local law that says if we need to, we have to go over the tax levy, we're authorizing the town board to go over that tax levy. Still open to the public, you guys will have access to all of that, but we certainly don't know what that number is as of today. But we've had major increases in insurance premiums and retirement. So we're looking at it, we're spending a lot of time defining it, and we'll have some numbers out, preliminary numbers out to the board I'll have out next week, and then we'll go through it all and we'll make a determination if in fact we go over the 2% tax cap. Other towns have done it, we're just being cautious to stay within the time frame of getting it done because this requires a public hearing.
Maybe, can I speak? Is someone from the public want to speak? So Doug and I were on the board when the state of New York came out with this and said, you have to try to stay within the 2%. And Joe and I had a lot of discussion today, and he gave me the adjusted budgets this morning, and I went over them, and I had a number of questions. However, you're right, we're meeting a time limit.
Yep.
And this is just a fail-safe, so
in the event that we need
I
to
won't
go.
give you the agita that I thought I would give you tonight. And I'm gonna get on board with.
Trying to find ways to reduce.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so.
Anybody else have any questions?
Can I speak?
Yes.
What if you're going to remove the tax cap, what are you going to raise it to?
We don't know, that's what I'm saying, we don't know. It's a one-time tax. We have to always stay under the 2% tax cap. And every time we think we may go over it, we have to pass a local law for that specific year. It's not an open, We don't leave it open for, in perpetuity.
And we haven't.
And we have a time frame that we have to adhere to get the final budget completed. So if we don't do this today, have a public hearing on this at the next meeting and adopt it, we will not be able to go above the 2% tax cap, and therefore, if we can't balance the budget, we're gonna come in late. So this is a precautionary measure. Not saying we're going over the 2%, but in the event that we do, we have the law in place that allows us to do it. All right, two things. I need a motion to approve the resolution introductory law number 12 of 2024 entitled Tax Levy Limit Override. So a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
You need a
I need a roll
roll
call.
Go ahead.
Councilman Bloomfield? It's just for the resolution.
Aye.
Councilman Florio?
Aye.
Councilman Lyons?
Aye.
Councilman Cantalina?
Aye.
Supervisor Petra?
Aye. All right, next I need a motion to schedule a public hearing for introduction of law number 12 of 2024 on September 26th at 7 o'clock.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call? Or no?
You don't need one. no?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discuss and approve increasing the hauler permit from 100 to 150 due to increase in costs. So essentially, every hauler in the town pays a permit fee per truck.
Right,
We're looking to increase that cost to $150.
right.
Okay. Any discussion on that?
Good idea.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
They're all in a rush because my vacation started at 10 o'clock this morning. I go to drive 4.5 hours, but thank you very much.
Again, I just got back this morning, so it's, I don't care.
Discuss and approve the appointment of Elizabeth Burnham as part-time clerk in the town clerk's office at a rate of $23 an hour. Any discussion?
Question.
She's,
Well,
go ahead, Doug.
based on still working on the budget, can we postpone this?
We can, I mean, you know. if
I'm
we-
just,
Yeah,
I'm kind of frightened when I see those numbers.
Yep. Well,
And
it-
I think we need to know more about how much money we have to spend.
sure, that, just so you know, that salary is already in the budget. She's replacing somebody that passed away.
I understand. But the person who passed away was not, you know, when we say for the help of the tax collector.
I don't have a problem, you know.
All right. I'm just saying I'm concerned, so I think we need to know more information about how desperate we're gonna be in our budget.
I don't think we're gonna be desperate at all, but, you know,
Okay, well,
okay.
that's good.
But if you want to
That's good.
postpone this to the next meeting, Mary,
Yeah.
was she already told?
Nope.
No, okay, so we'll postpone it to September 20, what,
26?
26, yes.
Okay.
Discuss and approve the town board minutes, August 8, 2024. Any questions on them?
Motion to accept?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Finance. Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run for August 22nd, 2024 in the amount of $235,279.57.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run for September 12th, 2024 in the amount of $304,865.70. Have a motion?
So,
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve manual AP run as of 6/30/2024. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve manual AP run of 7/31/2024.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve the 2024 year-to-date budget transfers of August 8, 2024 and August 22nd, 2024. Any questions? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And for informational purposes only, the budget officer Christine Cavallari submitted an AP review for 8/27/2024. It's attached. Does anybody have any questions on that? All right. Privilege of the floor.
Bob Smith, Goshen. Can we get some information on the Oktoberfest?
Sure.
Well, what was the genesis of it?
What's that?
What was the genesis of it?
We looked at a way for us to try to bring everybody together in Goshen in the festival. They were in Greenwood Lake last year. It was extremely successful. There was a logistical issue there only, because it's so tight in the village. So when we saw that, I reached out to Supervisor Dwyer out in Warwick. We got my clerk got some information from him that they were a really good company. It was really successful. It was a great gathering for the town of Greenwood Lake, and we just thought that we'd like to try it.
You didn't do any research on the company itself?
Yep, did research on the company.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Are they local? Do you know the principals or?
I don't know where they live. I know they live in the county somewhere. One of them is a actual a elected official up in I want to say Milford, Pennsylvania, but I'm not positive. But he is an elected official up there. All we did was verify what they've done in the past over at Greenwood Lake, and they got high honors for the job they did over there.
Is there money to be made?
We are getting a fee for use of the fields, and I'm not going to say how much it is yet until I sign the deal with them. This is what I asked for. We haven't negotiated, and I don't know if they will. And we're getting a cash bond for cleanup and any damage that's done after it hasn't been fixed. So, yes. But I will share with you what that cost is at the next meeting once they sign the contract.
They'll publicize this, because I
it's publicized
about it, so I don't.
It's public. I apologize for that too. It was put together very short notice. We only had 4 weeks to get it done, and there was a lot of logistics went into the police coordination, vendor coordination, and getting everything. We didn't really finalize this. They didn't come back to me and finalize everything that they needed until last Thursday.
So then are they going to do the publishing?
Yep, it's going out now. They've already sold, I think, 600 tickets, they said,
wow,
in the last 2 weeks. So,
really?
Yep.
Well, the advertisement says 10 to 15,000.
Yeah, that's, so can I explain that? Because that was the first thing I said.
Yeah.
You can explain
Ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
So, it's a marketing ploy.
Yeah.
So you put it out there, you anticipate 10 to 15,000, you get people to react. Oh, I better get my tickets before it's sold out. Yeah, they had like 6,000 last year, over 2 days.
Over 2 days?
Yeah, still.
Yeah. Well, we had 2,001 night at National Night Out.
Yeah, yeah.
You had 2,000 people at the field?
Not this one, last year's. This one was rained out.
Do you know what part of the field they're gonna use?
I have a layout for everybody. They will not be using the new soccer field in the middle. And that'll be cordoned off with snow fencing.
It's going to be behind Bob's house.
I can ride my quad then.
They are looking to pay people for parking if you want to.
I have no interest in that at all.
No. So they will not be allowed past Craigville Park to over to Brookside. In fact, that'll be cordoned off. We may even reroute the traffic on Craigville to Coleman Road to get out if we have to. Not sure if we're doing that yet. We're going through the police layout right now. Parking 90% of all parking will be at the county building, and there'll be shuttle bus down Craigville Road. So they have very limited parking, and it's part of what they call their preferred VIP, preferred VIP. We'll have parking
First
down
1,000
there.
guests.
We'll have a VIP tent and so on and so forth. But it's limited.
Prefer if you get a parking spot.
It's limited. Believe me when I tell you, it's limited. They weren't happy with us not parking on the soccer field and not even using the soccer field.
Oh, yeah.
That was mandatory to getting this done.
Well, the thing is, now the major field is fenced off, the girls' field is fenced off, so I still don't understand where you're gonna crowd this.
Everything for the Oktoberfest is on the asphalt paved driveways.
Oh.
The only thing that's on the field between the baseball field and the girls' softball field are all the kid rides that are gonna be there. That'll be cordoned off in there. Parking will be in the back, then the parking will be in the parking lot to the left.
Oh, you're gonna let them go past the girls'
Yep,
softball field?
the two fields in the back.
And they're gonna park on the fields?
They're barely used.
I think the one in the back is used every Sunday morning.
The baseball field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the left?
Yeah, they use it.
Is that behind you?
Both the soccer club and the baseball club are aware of this, and they scheduled games away. So there'll be no disruption of service to their schedules.
All right. Now, the reason I ask is because this came up, no one in the town knew anything about it, you know? And
Apologize again.
Usually, you guys don't let church groups use that park unless they come up here with their certificate of insurance and everything else.
I received the certificates of insurance today. I received the liquor liability insurance today. It was sent to our insurance company. They approved it. It's $1 million, $2 million, full liquor liability, hold harmless the town, the village, the park and rec, and the county. 2 separate hold harmless agreements, and additional insurance for the village, the town, park and rec, and the county. So we've crossed all our bases. I wanted to make you feel proud of me.
Thank you, and I am. I said, wow.
And there's also a note. There's also a note on their website when you check it. It's a hold harmless agreement that also leaves all of the 4 entities as well as the production company hold harmless.
Okay. Now, second question. The Erie Park, were we party to that when the village mayor approached the Goshen?
The town?
The Goshen?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've had discussions on it. I've been to the meetings. I wasn't at the board meeting that night when she made the presentation, but I've spoken to Dr. Coates about it. So I've been actively involved, yes.
Now, is there a reason why that's never brought up here?
What's never brought up here?
Well, something like we're going to acquire a park and we're going to spend $500,000.
Well, we are not going to acquire a park. We're asking them to donate it to the town and the village. And we're not going to spend $500,000 because Senator Skoufis gave us a $500,000 grant.
Wow. I can't believe he's sending back that much of our money. We're probably going to have to pay more taxes next year. I know, but I
can only tell you what is happening.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little cynical about politics and politics.
And I'm trying not to be.
Yeah. No, the only thing is because I had to read it in the paper to find out, and then I see that the mayor of the village immediately said, "Well, we want it, but we're not going to be responsible for it." She wasn't.
I'm not following that. What do you mean, not going to be responsible for what?
They weren't going to be responsible for the manage. I forget how it was phrased in the newspaper, but it was like, yeah, we want it, but the village is not going to be responsible for it.
Well, it's a joint recreation commission that will be responsible for it, yes. But that's,
you know my feeling on that.
Yeah.
They don't carry their weight now.
Right, and you know, that needs to be renegotiated and readjusted, which is what we will do in the coming months. I think it should be based on, I think the board agrees with me, it should be based on population. There's a hell of a lot more people in the town of Goshen than there is in the village of Goshen, and they're carrying equal weight 50-50. I don't think it's fair, quite honestly.
Well, you know, when this was put into effect, what was the population of the town and the village?
I don't know when it was put into effect, back in the 60s, I guess. I don't know, maybe there was more in the village than the town. I honestly don't know, Bob. I really don't.
I would think that it was
in the 80s.
In the 80s?
No, it was amended in the 80s. So the original is in the
63 or 64,
and then there's
right?
the second one in the 80s, basically when Craigville comes in. I think it kind of ties to that time frame.
Yeah, I think the one on my desk is 63 or 64.
That's the current one, Phil. I think. Yeah, the one that you're talking about, the 80s is the current.
With Myron was walking through the freaking field, grass this high.
What else, Bob?
Well, I was just going to say, it doesn't seem to me like anyone was too concerned about the people in the town in the 60s.
Yeah, it's an entirely different.
I have no
totally different
objection
dynamic.
to.
I mean, we can't go back to the 60s and wonder what
I have
the
no
mindset
objection
was. I'm just looking
to
at
working it out to modern standards.
There were 180 dairy farms in the town.
Right.
Had a lot of cows.
Exactly.
And they couldn't enjoy the park.
Today they have 2 farms and all that land has been sold and built up with houses.
We're just trying.
No, it's solar farms now.
We're
It's
just
solar
trying
farms
to.
now.
We're just trying to make it equally.
Yeah, but I wish you'd get going on this. I've been on this with you guys for over a year.
I know. Good things take time.
Well, did you even start?
What, the renegotiation?
Reconsider even this more.
Let's just say prior, when Mayor O'Donnell came in, things got to move a lot faster than they did before. So they're moving quickly through the process.
Talking about the intermunicipal agreement?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
And how things are paid for.
Right now, they're supposed to be paid 50/50, but
I understand
if we relied on that agreement, nothing would get done in the parks. Unfortunately, they don't have the money that we have. They don't have the growth that we have in the town. We're gonna take in another $360,000 with Maplewood and Youngs Grove. They don't have that growth, so it's hard for them. The only way for them to get money is through, the fees that they would pay for residential development. There is no residential property left in the village.
But they don't even pay the maintenance agreement every year, the same way we do. How much did we pay last year? And
What maintenance agreement?
How much did we contribute to the maintenance of the parks last year? Just
To the Park and Rec
Yeah.
budget. I don't know off the top of my head, but.
How much?
I don't know off the top
I
of my
thought it
head.
was about 90,000.
Oh, because my understanding was a lot more than that.
No, it was under 100,000, and they contributed.
They were at 60.
I think they contributed 60,000, the village. Their budget's $160,000, so some way they got to 160,000.
And their
But I'd
insurance
be
bill
glad to get that for you.
Their insurance bill is $60,000, just that.
That's not my problem.
Well, I'm just telling you,
That's
that's where
the
their money
problem
goes.
of people who manage it, No,
that's the insurance
I mean, if you want me to manage it, I'll come in and manage it.
You're more than welcome.
You're more than welcome to join the board.
You're welcome to.
Yeah, you won't like it.
Sure I
I
will.
said if I could manage it, I'd do it.
No, but in all honesty, we look at it, parks are for the enjoyment of everyone, children, mid-aged adults, seniors. I mean, look at the pickleball court. I mean, there are more seniors out there getting activity than I could have believed when we got that done.
It was a
So-
50-50, but you have to remember, there were people on that side of the town that didn't have the availability to get to the park. I mean, the village is contiguous to the park, and the town residents, they didn't use the park because most of the people in the village used the park, more so.
Well, still, most of the people
Yeah.
don't get to the parks because they're in the wrong place. And
Well,
and you
that's
won't
something
put them
we-
where
They can't be closer to the
you won't put them where the developments are. You should have a park in the development.
I said, we're looking, we are.
Now, with that, has anything ever been done with Salesian Park?
Salesian?
Yeah, since we.
Relative to what?
Well, improvements and stuff. I mean, you say the parks are for, adults and stuff. Has anything, that I would think would be not I consider Craigville a recreational park. And then there's.
That's a passive
Yeah,
park.
that's a park.
That's a passive park.
People go to picnic,
That's the way it
walk
was set up.
around, nice.
Yeah, so the only thing that we have cordoned off is the
With the
old ruins that need to be looked at. I mean,
Right, and that was a year ago that they were
I know,
supposed to be
but
fixed.
I mean, in reality, the smart thing to do is knock it down, but for some reason, there's a place in some people's hearts in the village that these nice stones that are there, remind them of when the building was there. So we're trying to, we have to spend some money to redo the rock so that nobody gets hurt. It's an insurance liability right now.
But Bob,
Right,
it
but that was a
it-
year ago, and nothing has been done since then. So they've deteriorated another year, and nothing's been done.
Well, not really, because they're cordoned off and nobody's going on.
Well, just nature will deteriorate.
That's what makes it. That's what makes
Just
it.
with the Salesian building, leave the
I-
roof
I-
open for
you know,
20 years.
Listen,
and
I will
it's
bring it
wrong.
up at the next Park and Rec meeting and ask them to get to a final decision on what we're gonna do. I think the bill came in, Rick, was it like 12,000
Yeah.
to do everything on there?
Yeah.
So, they don't have the 12,000 in their budget.
And
But
who
Bob-
doesn't have the 6,000 to split?
But when that was purchased between the town and the village, it was a passive park.
Right.
They wanted. It is not a recreational park.
Right, I agree with you.
Okay.
But I think Bob was talking about going up there and, sitting on, having some, putting a blanket down, sitting down, having a picnic with Betty
You
and
do
the
that.
others, right?
Well, if she's around. But yes, that's exactly what I had in mind, letting,
Is Bob Smith done?
no,
You're gonna torture us all night.
no, just for another 5
No, I told him I had a 3-hour drive. He said, I'm gonna keep this guy here till 10 o'clock.
I told him.
He's working on it.
I had one more thing, but I forget, you made me forget what it is now.
Oh, that's the way it was, just talking, you forget.
Usually wrap up with a compliment. I think is what you do.
That's what I like it here.
You got that.
Listen, I was not, I didn't,
Thanks, Bob.
I didn't have my cynical personality.
No, I
Good
know.
tonight, Bob.
Just give me 1 second.
You come back up, you come back up.
Oh, I'm not.
Would anybody else like to
Motion will be
speak?
closed.
Would anybody else like to speak? Please, no, this is where we go.
Unfortunately, I just have
Yeah,
to.
no, I'm only
And I hate talking to you guys, so it's. No, I'm not individually, I just like
No,
the big
not-
board.
right.
So I live on Gates, Marie Hartman, you know me. I live on Gates Schoolhouse Road. It's supposed to be a weight-restricted road. There are signs up. I spoke to your Department of Traffic guy, who was very nice, but he said his hands are tied. The signs are in the wrong spot. And on one side of Maple, it's a county road. On the other side, it's a state road. So I'm kind of at an impetus. Is there anything you guys can do to help me to get these signs moved? Because the cops have been there.
Who told you that? So I know, to who to call tomorrow.
Noble, something like that. What's the guy's name?
Roderick, no.
Brad,
There you
Brad,
go.
no? All right, I'll call Brad tomorrow, find out what the situation is.
And we
We
understand,
know
Bob.
that there's a problem, you know, we have.
Yeah, he
we've-
told me
we've-
basically the signs are, he's got the signs as far as he can go. And unfortunately, the truckers turn onto my road
Yeah.
before they see the sign. And once they're on the road, they can't back
And then
up.
we got the same problem in Houston Road.
And
You
there's
gotta put
gas
signs
lines
up,
under
you
the
know.
road.
I'll take it up with Brad on Monday, find out exactly what we can do, and if we have to go to the county to put it on county roads, we'll ask for that permission.
Can I call the town hall to get some sort of idea on what's happening with it, or will somebody email me or call me?
Sure, you can call, call Karina, my clerk, and I'll gladly get on a phone call. And once I have some information, but I'm supposed to go away tonight, but.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll do-
I mean, it's been like this for a couple of years, but if I could get some help, because
absolutely.
he was very helpful, but it seems like his hands are tied.
We actually, we actually have been putting a police detail out there, and we pulled quite a few trucks over.
Right, but they said they basically can't do anything because the signs are in the road and the guys are on the road and they can't back up. So even if the trucker's trying to be good, they don't see the signs.
Doug has the same problem, they back up into his driveway, he gives them coffee.
But I'll tell you what, on Gate School Road, where it's curly up in front, there were 2 trucks pulling, it looked like a single house that was cut down the middle.
Yeah.
And they were in my lane and I had to stop. So I got out of my car and said, guys, what the hell are you doing? Well, we got a permit, I said, excuse me, back your damn truck out. Finally, I went off the road to let them out, but you're right. And the same thing this morning, I saw a triple axle rear-ended truck on Houston Road with the school buses and things. We have to fix this now.
I'm the third house in from Maple, and
Yeah.
every morning at 10 to 8, I have to wait on like 12 cars
Yeah.
to turn
Yeah.
to come down here to go to work on Police Drive.
Yeah.
Because it's just traffic coming up that road.
Yeah, they use that as a
Short
through
cut.
to, and we're trying to avoid, I mean, we've written a lot of tickets on both of those roads.
I don't know if there's any kind of signage you could do or pre-signage, but, and when you say traffic's not increasing, when I first moved here only a short time ago, I didn't have to wait 8 cars to get out.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree.
it's much more heavier, and especially the cut through from Middletown to
I'll
Warwick.
speak to Brad on Monday, see what we can do about moving that sign so no trucks
So
get
then you
through
can have a
there.
nice vacation if you're gonna go to, okay?
I'm gonna try.
Thank you.
See, Bob, that's how you do it, Bob. Wrap it up at the end with
Yeah. this
like
way
some
they can
nice
dig out my-
vacation.
If you don't mind.
All right, that's fine. Excuse the
I
fact that I
appreciate
came
it.
from.
You don't send me birthday cards.
Hey, that's fair.
Just needed your help in understanding something. So when we
Just say your name.
Just your name for the record.
Sorry, Steve Betancourt, Goshen. When we have applicants that submit, a structure, maybe a warehouse or what have you, and it stays open or there's a pause with the planning board, is there a time limit we have in place that they can continue to pause, it remains open? And if not, can we consider a law that does that? I don't know if it's a law or whatever we write, because you can't keep, I don't think we should leave these projects open. A lot of us are concerned. If it hasn't been approved and they're not moving ahead, axe it. Then they have to start the process again. And it's up to the town to either send it to the planning board and they decide at that point. Just sucks to have things open for so long. And a lot of us are on pins and needles awaiting some of these projects with the planning board. So I don't know if that exists currently. If
So,
it doesn't,
I'm
can
not
we
an
do that?
expert on this,
Yeah.
but it depends on where they are in the process. If they have received preliminary approval They have 2 6-month extensions to get everything done. That's what you saw tonight. But prior to that, if they're in the seeker process, that going back and forth could take years. Nothing you can do.
Got it. So right now, I know we're dealing with the whole RDM piece.
Mhm.
Where are they at?
They're in the seeker process.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's go on forever, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
I don't think that's
it's a back and forth. I mean, and I'll give you the applicant side, and I'll give you the planning board side.
Yeah.
You know, the applicant obviously wants to get done as fast as possible, but the planning board is not gonna push them through. They're gonna make them adhere to every facet of the law, and of the code, and they'll go back, and it's a back and forth all day long. Very expensive thing, I can tell you that, a positive declaration application with the planning board, depending on the size, could be upwards of $1 million in cost to get through.
Okay, because the last I understood, the applicant actually paused what they were doing.
Neil,
So,
can you
yeah.
comment on that?
There's Neil, I should have said that. Neil's on the planning board.
The answer is the applicant can always pause their process anytime they want to, and for as long as they want to. And we certainly have applications in for some subdivisions that are well in excess of 15 years, so they can drag on forever.
Does it behoove
Actually,
us
the one we just voted on today, Maplewood, is like 20 years old.
Oh, yeah. It probably started in 2004.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Does it behoove us at any point in time, just put some sort of law that stops that?
It's not us, it's the seeker process, it's done by the state of New York.
Okay.
All we can control is, once the seeker is done, then we control it by saying, you have 12 months or 24 months. You get preliminary approval today, they give you a time frame to get it done. You could ask for 2 6-month extensions. Neil?
And again, that can extend forever. They just have to keep on coming back to us at the end of their extension and ask for it again. The planning board usually asks them, well, what have you done, if anything? Sometimes it's been waiting for the economy to change. Sometimes it's we've gone and spoken to the town board, and they may or may not have even done that. Sometimes it's in the case of Maplewood, they have to go to the DEC and DOH.
Yeah, outside agencies feel like it's still.
Well, I think in RDM out on 17M, we're looking at traffic. That's gonna be a biggie.
Yeah, so, because they have to go to outside agencies, and I think, Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, if they have to go to multiple outside agencies, they could go to all the agencies at once the planning board.
Once they get through seeker.
Right.
Once they get through seeker, they can go to the agencies, and those agencies can
But all at once.
Yes, they can start making decisions. Up until seeker's completed, no outside agency can make it.
And there's a back and forth between these agencies also, too, correct?
Sometimes they can take a year or 2 or 3.
Okay. So my understanding is that they elected to take a pause, so I thought that, how long can you take a pause for? So that's what I was referring to.
Indefinite.
It is indefinite. Okay. I appreciate the guidance on it. Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question? I don't want to get up. Just a quick question. So you're saying they gotta go through seeker, they get 2 extensions, and it
Well,
sounds
Neil
like.
just corrected me, they can give multiple extensions. I thought it was 2.
Right, so does that help us? Like, isn't there a way where you would give them a cutoff date, and then maybe they gotta give us more money to reapply?
Neil?
Like
A long time ago, I'm gonna say back in 2007 or so, there was a thing when you had conditional final approval, you must get it completed within 1 year. Then the economy tanked, and at that point in time, the state government felt it was unfair to tell them, look, you had to have it done in 1 year, and therefore they said they can extend it forever. That has never been rescinded, to my knowledge. So since 2007, they can continue it forever. Young's Grove is a good example of one like that, where they are just sitting out there, I think, waiting for somebody to change their mind about whether we're going to go with the sewer line all the way into the village, or whether they got to put their own sewer plant out there. So yeah, it can go on forever now.
Is it in our best interest? Is there anything we could do to change it? So, like, at least if they have to reapply, can you make them spend another $5,000 to apply?
No, what we do make them play, I think we charge them, I'm gonna say $200 or whatever for each six months. They have to come back to the planning board, and by the time they pay for our consultants, it may be costing them $500 to $1,000 to get the approval extended. But that's what we're really getting, that's about all we'll be able to get.
We're not really making money. Because we gotta
No, we're
pay
not
the
making money,
experts.
we're just agitating them probably a little bit. You have to remember.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Well, Neil's got something.
I'm sorry, from the
I think they're doing it, I think they're all in on this together.
I cut down before,
That's fair.
At the ERB level last night, one of the concerns they have with the 80B law was that when you look at, it's all stat, has much like a state or county road, you really have 14 state or county roads in the town. If you're gonna look at that code and you're gonna change something, you may wanna cut that number down. Because we got things like Sarah Wells Trail on there.
Not in the industrial zone.
I realize that. I'm aware of that.
So how many of them are in the industrial zone?
One.
Yeah.
Okay, so then why not just say that it must be located on 17M?
That's pretty much what it is, really.
It is, but.
But why not be clear? That's
Yeah,
what
okay.
we're saying.
I think it is pretty clear. You know, it's on the county road or the state road.
Okay, the second thing is, and it has more to do with a future concern, and I don't want to screw it up with having anything to do with ADB, but certainly in the future here, we know that Tilcon is going to finish mining. And at the point, almost always is a recovery, and you have to fill in the hole.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that information from?
That's I'm saying, what, that I'm stopping? Oh, I'm not saying they're ready yet. Okay, there was an article out there about Steve Newhouse saying that's not going to happen.
That's on the county property.
I'm aware of that, so I'm not saying that's.
I met with the Vice President of Government Resources, and they have a plan to be there for the next 45 years.
And if it goes that 45 years, that may be. I know they're planning, they're down to sea level, below sea level now. And I think
On the existing one, yeah.
Right, and I think they're planning on going further. And so
they can't go further because the county canceled their contract.
As far as going on the county's property.
But Neil,
Right.
I talked to this is a couple of years ago. When you go down, if you get into that aquifer, you're going to take the water. It's kind of like if you got a hose to the roof of this building, and you cut it down here, the water stops up there, and you got all North Gate and all that.
Yeah,
I'm
aware of that, and I'm aware that they're pumping water every day just to keep
600 gallons
Just
a
keep
minute.
going.
Right, yeah. Okay, so there's concern about that. There's also concern about in the future that we not let them fill it up with garbage, which is a popular.
It's not garbage. The reclamation plan that they have hasn't been approved by the county, but my understanding, they're telling me their reclamation plan is either one of two things. Either they fill it with dirt or they fill it with water. That's it.
Okay, well, water was fine by me, but in general, most municipalities don't like big holes of water like that.
Yep.
Okay, good. That takes care of that. Future zoning concern is what the zoning is going to be for the old psych center. Once they move over, last time I heard anything, maybe you know more, is that the state had no intention or plans to go ahead and knock down the old psych center because of all the asbestos.
Correct. It'll be next Letchworth Village.
Okay. So the question is going to be how we're going to protect that as far as our zoning. Because once the state turns it over, if the state ever turns it over to somebody else, then it's our zoning, and hopefully we take care of that.
I don't think the state has any intention of closing the mental health hospital up there. That's why they're expanding and putting in, a new hospital.
Okay, no, the last time I spoke to them, they said that they basically were building this other one so they can move everybody out of there into the new one.
Correct, and their intention is not to use anything in the building because of the amount of asbestos that's in the building.
Yep, okay. Good. I hope we're on top of it anyhow. The other concern about Gate Schoolhouse and the heavy road trucks on there was the gas lines underneath there. And I said last night that I thought there was no issue with the gas lines being compromised by heavy trucks going there. I think it's true, but nevertheless, it may be a concern.
The gas line runs down Gate School. I thought the gas line ran down 17A.
That's 17A, I think it cuts in the gas.
Houston Road goes down and out.
Yeah.
So is that Houston?
They're both. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it goes. I think it does go that way too.
Okay.
Okay, so just that's a concern. Maybe I don't know that the trucks are going to be big enough or whatever to do any damage to that, but that is a
Are
concern.
they in the road themselves? I thought they would be in the right of way.
Two gas lines.
They're on the road.
Yeah.
On Gate Schoolhouse.
In the road?
Under the road, but,
Wow, that's unusual.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
major gas on Houston.
So that's maybe.
What's that?
Same with
Major
Houston.
gas lines on Houston.
Oh yeah.
But it may be a concern that we should look at more when we do proceed with looking at the
Joe on
heavy
17A,
trucks.
the gas substation there, it goes right on down the road.
And the last concern that came up last night was the noise from Jake Brakes. And no, I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, for where?
From Jake Brakes. On the heavy duty trucks, you have the noise sometimes from the
PTO?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So in other municipalities, sometimes you see it. I don't know who controls that and how you can control it. Except I do see signs sometimes saying you can't use those brakes.
We asked Rick Golden to look into that one time.
And it's state of New York control. We were gonna try to,
Okay.
we had people on Maple Ave who were complaining about it, couldn't do anything.
So we're getting the complaints again, I think you're a big, I'm hearing them anyhow. So I didn't know if we could do anything or who we had to approach to see if they would do something. But we may want to look at that also.
Yeah.
State DOT?
State DOT.
Yeah, right.
Good luck.
Yeah, might be the DOT, and there also might be the county if it's, I understand Maple Avenues also.
But you just take 17A and
Yeah.
17M and all those with, up boy,
Yep.
they wake you up in the middle of the night.
I hear them to myself sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I make a motion we adjourn.
But, hold on, any other? I want to be sure. Go ahead.
I'm trying to help you.
You can make the motion, Doug.
Okay. Make a motion we adjourn.
Second. All in favor?